In this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about dictionaries in Python. We use dictionaries in situations where we want to store information that come as key value pairs. Here's an example. Think of a customer. A customer has a bunch of attributes like name, email, phone number, address, and so on. Now, each of these attributes has a value. For example, the name can be John Smith, the email can be john@gmail.com, the phone can be whatever. So what we have here is a bunch of key value pairs. So in this example, our keys are name, email, and phone, and each key is associated with a value. So this is where we use a dictionary. With a dictionary, we can store a bunch of key value pairs. So let me show you how to define a dictionary in Python. Back to our program, I'm going to define a variable, customer, and here we set it to curly braces. With these curly braces, we can define a dictionary. In this example, we have an empty dictionary that doesn't have any key value pairs. Now we can add one or more key value pairs in between the braces. So let's add a key value pair here. I'm going to set the key to name and the value to John Smith. Then we add a comma to add another key value pair. So let's set age to 30. Let's add another key value pair is underline verified. And we set this to a Boolean. Now what matters here is that these keys should be unique. So if I add another key value pair here, let's set age to 40. Now look, PyCharm has highlighted the age key because we have duplicated that, and that's not allowed. So each key should be unique in a dictionary, just like the dictionaries we have in the real world. In a real dictionary, we have a bunch of words and their definition. Each word is listed only once in a dictionary. We don't have the word book twice. So let's delete this second duplicate key value pair. So the keys should be unique. And in this example, I'm using strings, but they can also be numbers. We're going to look at that later. But the value can be anything. It can be a string, a number, a Boolean, a list, literally anything. Now we can access each item in this dictionary using square brackets. So we type customer, square brackets, and then specify a key, like name. And this will return the value associated with the name key. Let's print it on the terminal, have a look. There you go. So the name is John Smith. Now, what if we pass a key that doesn't exist? Let's say birth date. Run the program. We get a key error because we don't have a key called birth date. Also, if you spell name with, let's say, a capital N, we get the same error because we don't have a key with the exact same sequence of characters in this dictionary. Now, to get around this, we can use the get method. Let me show you. So instead of using the square brackets, we call the get method and specify our key. Now, if we use a key that doesn't exist here, it doesn't yell at us. For example, if we pass birth date, it simply returns the none value. Earlier, I told you that none is an object that represents the absence of a value. So instead of getting a key error, we get none. Now we can also optionally supply a default value. For example, if this dictionary doesn't have this key, we can supply a default value. Let's say January 1st, 1980. Let's run the program. Now instead of getting none, we get this default value. So this is how we can access the value associated with a key in a dictionary. We can also update these values. For example, before a print statement, we can write code like this. Customer of name. Let's update the name to Jack Smith. Now, this little warning here is telling us that we could simply put Jack Smith here instead of defining it once and then update it. Don't worry about that. It doesn't really matter. Now with this line, if we print the name of this customer, we should see Jack Smith. Let me show you. So I'm going to use the square bracket notation again. Let's print the name of the customer. You can see that is updated here. We can also add a new key here. Let's set the birth date to some value like January 1st, 1980. And then we can print it here. So as you see, we can easily add new key value pairs to a dictionary. So this is the basics of using dictionaries in Python. They're extremely important and they have a lot of applications in the real world. Okay, here's an exercise for you. So here we have this program that asks our phone number. Let's type 1, 2, 3, 4. We type it in digits, and then this will translate it to words. Take a look. Enter. It prints 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a pretty cool program. So go ahead and spend a few minutes on this exercise. It's pretty easy. I will see you next. All right, so first we need to get the user's phone number. We call the input function with the label phone. We get the result and store it in this variable. Now let's say the user enters 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to loop through this string, get each character, and translate it to a word. So what we need to implement this scenario is a dictionary, because a dictionary is a structure that allows us to map a key to a value. So we can have a dictionary with keys like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we map each of these keys to a word. So we can map the digit 1 to the word 1. We can map 2 to TWO. You got the point. So let's define a dictionary. We can call it digits underline mapping. Now in this dictionary, I'm going to add a few key value pairs. 1, we map it to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and finally 4 to 4. Now technically we should add all the digits from 0 to 9, but I don't want to waste your time typing repetitive things here. You got the point. So let's move on. Now we need to loop through the phone string. So for character in phone, we get each character and then use it to access a key value pair in our dictionary. So digits underline mapping. We can use square brackets or call the get method. I would prefer to use the get method. So in case the user enters some character that is not part of our dictionary, our program is not going to yell at them. So we call the get method and pass this character as the key. And if we don't have this key, we can supply a default value like an exclamation mark. So with this, we'll get a word. Now we need to add this word to an output string. So we can define an output string. Initially, we set it to an empty string. In each iteration, we get this and add it to our output string. So we type output plus equals this. And we should also add a space at the end. So the words are not close to each other. Okay, that's all we have to do. Now, finally, let's print this output, run our program. So I'm going to type 1, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we get. We get 1, 3, 4 with an exclamation mark.